What's going on, y'all? We back with another one. We got the rise and fall of Zeke Elliott by Blitz. My first time, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might be my first time reacting to him. Um, I y'all think I've seen a Blitz vid, but should be an interesting one. Said the rise and fall. Zeke definitely came in the gate of the NFL, established himself. He was in the drafted in probably one of the most perfect positions for a running back. Only thing that's probably killed him is probably like weight gain and probably like the amount of carries over the years. So he's not as fast. But I mean, like the weight gain isn't bad because then it helps him absorb hits better. But you do sacrifice speed there. But I don't know. Like I don't feel like he just fell off that hard. I think they just found a great running back. I ain't say great yet, but a good running back, and Tony Pollard. And it's just like, hey, we got to choose. We paying you a lot of money, and that's just what it is. I think he still has juice. I think he still got some gas in the tank. Just in an iffy spot with the Patriots, considering that they have a starter already, but they've been utilizing him pretty nicely over the past few weeks. So let's see and see what the context is here.
At the age of 27, he went from being one of the next faces of the NFL to not even wanted by his own team.
The biggest problem, and I'll end it like this, Zeke has a first-team name with second-team game.
Here is the story of the rise and fall of Ezekiel Elliott.
Should be interesting.
From the moment he took his first breath, it was crystal clear that Elliott was going to be a star athlete. His mom and dad attended the University of Missouri, where his dad was a linebacker, and his mom ran track after winning a high school state championship.
So he already
in
got
3
them
different
athletic
sports.
genes.
On top of that, his grandfather attended Drake University, where he played basketball, and his uncle played ball professionally overseas. So nobody in the Elliott family was surprised when Zeke excelled at every sport he played. Growing up, he played basketball, baseball, and of course, football. Elliott quickly earned a reputation for his playing style that was extremely uncommon for a kid. While playing running back during a scrimmage, he kept laying out the same defender over and over again, even though he didn't have the ball. People watching were confused why Elliott was going so hard without the ball. So someone asked him why he kept doing this, and he responded, "Coach says you don't block, you don't get the ball." While almost any other player at that age would only care about scoring touchdowns, Elliott was already thinking about and working on blocking out of the backfield. It was a mindset that hinted at big things to come for the youngster. In high school, he was a 3-sport varsity athlete, starring on the football, basketball, and track teams. With all 3 of them, Elliott relied on a very special combination of power and speed. Someone that strong simply wasn't supposed to be able to move at the speeds he could. Elliott showed this off on the track while dominating the competition. As a senior, he won state championships in 4 different events: the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, 110-meter high hurdles, and the 300-meter hurdles. Elliott added one more trophy to his shelf by being named the state of Missouri's Gatorade Track Athlete of the Year. On the football field, he leaned on this otherworldly ability to become nearly unstoppable by running defenses over or simply outrunning them. As a junior,
I do recall
he
that
rushed
too.
for 1,802 yards and 34 touchdowns, while adding in 401 receiving yards and 6 more touchdowns. Then, as a senior, Elliott ran for 2,155 yards and 40 touchdowns, while totaling over.
Like he never had that elite, of course, Tyreek Hill type speed, that Chris Johnson type speed. Of course, those are unique guys, but he was pretty fast. His pass blocking was top notch. I've always known for him to be a top notch pass blocker. Was ironic though. I saw a video. It was a compilation. I think it was a ding video. I can't remember, but it was running backs getting blown. It was a compilation of running backs getting blown up in pass block and pass pro. And Zeke was on there a few times getting blown up, but it was kind of wild. I think I don't know if I posted it on the channel or not, but it was kind of wild because I've always known and heard of him to be a great pass blocker. To watch the rise of Brock Purdy. That's on here. I might check it out.
Over 3,000 all-purpose yards and 50 scores. After having torn it up on the gridiron and the track, Elliott established himself as a highly rated consensus 4-star football recruit. He was highly sought after by top programs around the nation, like Ohio State, Florida State, Arkansas, and Missouri. There was plenty of pressure on him to follow in his parents' footsteps and pick Missouri, but Elliott ultimately decided to start his own legacy and committed to the Buckeyes.
I'll be taking my talents to Columbus, to the Ohio State University.
Zeke talking about
However,
the fact
he was forced to wait his turn before
Bro,
he could
crazy
begin
athletic.
writing his own story. During Elliott's freshman season at OSU, he only carried the ball 30 times and primarily played special teams. The following year, Elliott finally got his chance to prove himself when the running back ahead of him left for the NFL. Zeke seized the moment and exploded onto the college football scene, finishing with 1,878 rushing yards, the second most for one season in the program's storied history.
J.K. Dobbins went to Ohio State. Why did I forget that? Eddie George, Archie Griffin. J.K. ran for 2K. That's crazy. That's a lot of hype. I ain't gonna lie. I don't remember that.
In OSU's 2 playoff games,
I don't even remember J.K. being younger than Zeke. I mean, older. J.K. Dobbins older than Zeke. Am I tripping? Or he ran for 2K after Zeke left? JJ is on. If it's on the same channel, I'll pull it up.
All eyes glued on him. He ran for 476 yards and 6 touchdowns on his way to leading the Buckeyes to a national title. Elliott then followed up this storybook season the next year by rushing for 1,821 yards and 23 touchdowns. Feeling like there was nothing left to show, he gave up his final year of eligibility and declared for the 2016 NFL Draft. Despite playing for only 3 seasons and being the starter in just 2 of them, Elliott managed to finish second all-time on OSU's career rushing yards list.
Wild.
4,410 and 4th all-time in rushing touchdowns with 44. Heading into the draft, he had earned a reputation for being one of the most complete running backs in recent memory. On top of being a versatile threat out of the backfield with his ability to catch and run the ball, Elliott was also an extremely effective pass blocker. It's why, in an era where teams no longer believe in building around running backs, the Cowboys still took Elliott with the 4th overall pick. With the numbers he put up in college and the unusually high draft pick used on him as a running back, Elliott was expected to shine in Dallas on day 1. Unlike his fellow rookies, there was no time to adjust to playing at the next level. Ahead of week 1 of his rookie season, he was named the Cowboys' starting back, and things got off to a far from ideal start for him. In the season opener, he had just 51 rushing yards on 20 carries. Then in week 2, he had 21 carries for 83 yards and fumbled twice. Even though it was still very early in the year, people began to question if Dallas had reached in drafting Elliott. The next few games were going to be crucial for not only proving them wrong, but also boosting Elliott's self-confidence. In each of the following 4 games, Elliott rushed for over 100 yards, for a total of 569 rushing yards. Elliott built off this sudden momentum and finished the year rushing for 1,631 yards and 15 touchdowns. As just a rookie, he led the league in rushing yards.
Crazy. I thought he ran for 1,400 as a rookie. I mean, that's still good, but this is crazy. 1,600. DeMarco Murray went for 1,200. Jay Ajayi went for 12. That was kind of a down year for running backs. Jordan Howard. I remember Jordan Howard. I never knew he ran for that much yards. I said that about the Bears a few weeks ago. Every few years, the Bears have a starting running back. They don't invest into him. They wait until that rookie contract about to end and they replace him. Every few years. It's kind of crazy. And then, ironically, I can't think of a Bears running back that they have replaced that went somewhere and did amazing. David Montgomery's doing good. I'm not gonna lie. He was with the Bears, right? Yeah, he was. Jay Ajayi. He played for a decent amount of time. DeMarco Murray was really good.
Yards and was 3rd in rushing touchdowns with the 3rd most rushing yards.
Hold on.
He led the league in rushing yards and was.
LaShawn McCoy had 13 touchdowns with the Bills. I forgot he was going crazy like that. Latavius Murray. I think that was one of the few seasons Latavius started. Latavius hasn't really had a big opportunity to start in the NFL. Like, as soon as he got his opportunity with the Vikings, they replaced him. With the Raiders, it was Marshawn Lynch, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't remember him. I don't even remember him having a year like that. I remember him being good though. David Johnson was elite once upon a time. LeGarrette Blount, 18 is tough. 18.
3rd in rushing
touchdowns.
With the 3rd most rushing yards in a season.
3rd most rushing yards in the season by rookie. Eric Dickerson went for 1,800. I forgot about Alfred Morris. Well, I didn't really forget about Alfred Morris, but I know he went for 16. Him and RG3, the best. You could argue between Dak and Zeke and RG3 and Alfred Morris. the best rookie running back quarterback duo ever. You could argue that probably.
By a rookie in league history, Elliot was named first-team All-Pro. In the
First team
postseason that
All-Pro.
year, Elliot rose to the occasion and had 125 rushing yards in the Cowboys' 34-31 divisional round loss to the Packers. He
Talk about
became just the
NFL ready,
second
bro.
rookie
He was
in
that.
franchise history to rush over 100 yards in a playoff game. In what felt like the blink of an eye, Elliot had gone from being labeled a potential bust to a certified young star. He had the perfect combination of athleticism, power, and speed, where he could beat defenses however he wanted. Whether it was hurdling, trucking, or leaving them in the dust, Elliot seemed borderline unstoppable. But just when it looked like he had it all figured out, Elliot's world came crashing down. A month before the 2017 season, the NFL suspended Elliot.
Ezekiel Elliot has been suspended for 6 games. He's the first player disciplined under the NFL's new domestic violence policy.
After a year-long investigation due to accusations of domestic violence against his ex-girlfriend. This led to a series of appeals by Elliot that actually allowed him to play in Dallas's first 8 games. After no shortage of back and forth between courts and judges, Elliot, halfway into the season, finally accepted a 6-game suspension. Playing in only 10 games that year, he finished with 983 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. His absence was certainly felt by the Cowboys, who missed the playoffs after going 13-3 the year before. Heading into the 2018 campaign, Elliot knew that showing up out on the field would be the only way to get people to stop talking about his actions off of it. He came out of the gate as a man on a mission, and in his first 4 games totaled 426 rushing yards and 125 receiving yards. As the year went on, Elliot channeled all his frustrations and punished defenses with his bulldozing running style. He also turned on the Jets with his breakaway speed when he didn't feel like running over guys. In his second full season of playing, Elliot again took home the league rushing title with 1,434 yards on the ground. He also added 567 receiving yards for good measure, as he was named to his second Pro Bowl. His dominant play led the Cowboys back into the postseason and earned them a matchup with the Seahawks in the wildcard round. In that game, Elliott put the team on his back, rushing for 137 yards and a touchdown in a 24-22 victory. Then, in Dallas's divisional round game against the Rams, he was locked down and limited to just 47 yards on 20 carries in a 30-22 loss. This left a sour taste in Elliott's mouth after an impressive bounce-back season, but it didn't stop him from believing that he deserved to get paid big time that offseason. So, after the Cowboys picked up the 5th-year option on his contract, Elliott, during training camp, held out and demanded an extension. Just before the 2019 season was set to begin, Dallas finally caved, signing him to a 6-year extension worth $90 million with $50 million of it guaranteed. It made Elliott the highest-paid running back in the league. Anytime a player inks a massive contract like that, the following year, they're expected to take their play and their team to another level. For Elliott and the Cowboys, that didn't exactly happen. He put together a solid season with 1,357 rushing yards.
No. You're welcome.
Fourth most in the league, but the team went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. 2020 was supposed to be the year where Dallas figures it out and Elliott reclaims his throne as top running back in the league. It was indeed a turning point for both parties, just not in the right direction. As the team went 6-10, Elliott finished with only 979 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. It was the lowest rushing total of his career, even lower than the season in which he was suspended for 6 games. People wondered if this was just a fluke for him or if it was the new norm. Playing all 17 games in 2021, Elliott only had 1,002 rushing yards. The explosiveness he had used to become a star just wasn't there anymore, and this time his struggles didn't bring the team down with him. The Cowboys went 12-5 and began to lean on someone else in the running game to carry the load. With Elliott having lost a step, Tony Pollard had his coming-out party, rushing for 719 yards while averaging 5.5 yards per carry.
I do believe,
he went from being known as Elliott's back.
And it's like it's hit or miss, but I do believe Zeke did gain some weight, and I think that played a part to his speed and explosiveness. Like, look here, he got a stomach here. Of course, bro, not fat. You know, he still got some abs. We got a stomach here, but the arm, and I'm pretty sure he weighs more than Tony Pollard. The arm size, and this could be the angle, is about the same size as Tony P. So he's carrying a lot of weight in his midsection. So that's not like it's all muscle. That's a lot of fat, but that slow him down. I mean, muscle will slow you down too, but I don't know, bro. I could be overanalyzing, but I think the weight gain, because it's like this: if you gain weight and gain muscle, I think that'll help you absorb hits better than gaining weight and gaining fat. You know, and it's a disciplined way of going about it. You know, like dirty bulk, clean bulk. It's a disciplined way of going about it.
Backup to fans calling for him to get more touches or even be the starting back. Dallas was in a delicate position. It wasn't long since they had made Elliot the highest paid back in the league, and they weren't about to just give up on him. So in 2022, the Cowboys ditched the traditional starter and backup setup to implement a.
I've seen players who they speed was still there, like, and like the speed decline wasn't like, because it happened with Zeke. Like I feel like over a 2 or 3 year span. I've seen players where it took longer than that for you to really see a difference in their speed, like the decline of their speed. Now it could be, you know, bro, getting 300 carries a season. It could play that could play a part too. But
split two-man running game. As they did this, it became clear that one player was just better or more effective than the other. That season, Elliot finished with 876 rushing yards on 3.8 yards per carry.
He was his first 3 years in the league. And every year from that point, it was decline. While
Pollard had 1,007 rushing yards on 5.2 yards per carry. Elliott had gone from one of the top backs in the league to a glorified short yardage power back. It was a tough pill to swallow for Dallas given his contract situation, but there was no hiding it anymore. Numbers don't lie, and Pollard had to be the number one guy moving forward. So, during this offseason, the Cowboys did something that would have once been completely unthinkable. On March 15th, they released Elliott.
The Cowboys are releasing Ezekiel Elliott, former rushing champion.
He was set to count $16.7 million against the salary cap, and the team realized he simply wasn't worth that anymore. By cutting him, Dallas saved nearly $11 million against the 2023 cap. Meanwhile, they franchise tagged Pollard for just over $10 million. At the age of 27, Elliott still has plenty of time to prove the Cowboys wrong and show the world that he's capable of much more than what he's done recently. But landing in another split backfield with the Patriots this season, it looks like his days as a bell cow back may be over. Only time will tell whether Elliott was a flash in the pan or if these were nothing more than a couple of down years.
That was a good vid. Not gonna lie, pretty good vid. I like the editing style. It's different. It's a different vibe from you know, Thinking Football and some of the other football channels I've seen. Like, this is more like story based, but give you some stats too. Throw some stats in here educationally. Other ones are more like educational based, but you know, give you some entertainment in there with the commentary. But I like the difference between the two. I like this cool, good vid. I think Zeke still got some gas in the tank. We're gonna see how long, you know, how much longer he got. I don't think he's close to retirement. I think he can still play. It's just we have to see what role best fits him and what, you know, how it's going to depend on how well he takes care of his body as well. But yeah, man, y'all hit that like button, subscribe, stay tuned, stay blessed.